right, everybody, we got another very special guest for y'all, a returning special guest. And Mike, can I say real quick that
Mhm.
we've been saying returning special guests more and more these
Mhm.
past couple of years, and it's so awesome because it
Yeah.
means we're doing something right.
Yeah, definitely.
But
It's a good feeling.
everybody, welcome back to the show, Travis Mercer. Welcome, Travis.
Hey guys.
Hey, I'm so glad that I get to chat with Travis today because everybody knows me as the DC guy on the show. I don't know. Chris has been reading a lot more DC books
Hey.
this year, so they're kind of pulling him over to our side, which is great.
I think I've been fairly vocal that I think DC, especially under the stewardship of Joshua Williamson, has been doing especially dude, Beast World and all that stuff. Like they're doing so much better than Marvel is right now, and I still have a strong love for Marvel. So
Yeah,
DC's been killing it.
And go ahead, Travis.
I was just gonna say, you mentioned Josh. He's been doing phenomenal stuff. He's got the top tier. That Superman book is just amazing. I'm not fully caught up, but it is one of the books that I try to make time for to read.
Right.
It's Superman has always been it's Superman.
Yeah.
But that's one of those books that have really pulled me in to remind me how much I like that character. And then you've got Josh's Batman and Robin, so you're taking Batman, but you're putting him into a little bit more of a fun scenario with Damian, going to school. That's so much fun. And then you've got, maybe a lesser popular character, maybe not with the CW show, but you've got Green Arrow. And I love that book too. Green Arrow is my absolute favorite superhero. So I'm so glad that Josh has gotten to, paint with his brush, so to speak.
Have you gotten to draw Green Arrow yet? And even just in passing in some of your stuff, or no?
I did a Young Justice cover with Green Arrow, and I will say that I might have a little something coming.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll leave it at there for everybody to sit on the edge of their seats.
Yes.
Well, I wanted to real quick, Travis, because last time you were here, you were promoting the Page Puncher book that you're doing.
Yeah.
And I went out and bought.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now my question is: did you find it in the wild, or did you order it online?
I'm a little ashamed to say they're Amazon purchases, but
that's okay. That's how I first got my batch of them that I wanted to bring to cons was Amazon. But this holiday season, when I was in Target, I saw them, and it was one of the coolest things because when I went back, maybe 4 or 5 days later, they were gone, and that made me so happy.
Dude, I'm so mad because I collect a lot of when McFarlane comes out with the Batman stuff. They're coming out with a new Owlman figure that I have.
Yeah.
But the Page Punchers are awesome, and I was so mad because there's a lot of collectors around me. They're sold out everywhere. Even a guy that I work with that collects every figure, I couldn't find him. And
wow.
And it's tough for me, Travis, because I don't open my figures when I buy them. They don't breathe. They stay in the box.
I understand.
So if I got those and I had to open them, I was going to do it, but it was going to kill me to do it,
I did see the Robin at my local Walmart.
Yep.
I will say that. But I never saw another one on the way. And to be fair, I pretty much stay at my house or go to the local Walmart. So,
but I just want to say what an interesting way to promote a project, right? Because I wasn't on the last episode you were on where you talked about that, but that it's an interesting thing because you're going to sell out more of a figure with a book, probably more than a book at a store. There's probably better odds, right? Because the figure is popping out at somebody, and then you have a story to go along with it. So that had to be really cool to be part of that.
Yeah. And of course, I want the collectors to have them who are getting them, from their comic book store or finding them wherever they can. But just because it was the holiday season, all the toys were out. There was a part of me that was just hoping, I hope a parent just saw this and was like, hey, my kid likes Batman. This is kind of cool looking.
Yeah, right.
And just picked it up. And that kid not only opened the toy and, was so excited, but got that bonus comic without even knowing it.
Right.
And, there's that part of me that Stan Lee kind of hope that's like, I hope that was that kid's first comic.
Yep.
And it just triggers something where they want more. You know what I mean?
Yep. We always talk about when we bring people on the show, like, what was your first comic, like buying it off the shelf? I remember mine vividly, but I maybe 10 years from now or so, they're like, oh, I had this Page Puncher book. And it was epic. That's so cool.
I carried around my backpack for a month, and the thing is falling apart. That's what you want to hear. You know what I mean? It's great if you can keep it pristine and graded, but there is something about no, man, that thing disintegrated because I carried it around so much.
Did they tell you how well they did? Like, was it a success?
I think so, because the only email that I kind of sent was, I think it was towards the fall when more stores were getting them. And I just asked about sales, and they just kind of responded, they're doing very well.
Awesome.
That's what you want to hear. Yeah.
That's what you want to hear.
I don't know how comparative to the Injustice series that they did. And I think they did an Aquaman Page Puncher.
Yep.
I would be curious to see how comparatively. I don't know if that's fair, because it does have Batman in the title, which is always, it's always a better sell. But, just for my own curiosity, I would like to know.
Yeah. Having Batman in the title. That's why there's always so many Batman books.
Yeah.
I just want to talk to you a little bit. I mean, we're here to promote some other stuff, but sure. There's some stuff that I had read with you in, and I mean, a couple of my favorite properties at DC are the Legion of Superheroes, the JSA, and you've gotten to work in both those realms.
Yes,
I think the Legion was more of like a holiday special, right? So
it was, and that was at the end of
that?
Yeah, of course. That was at the end of the Bendis run. So they had me do a Polar Boy and the Comic Queen story, and that was a lot of fun, just because I knew those characters just barely knew them.
Right.
Which was so exciting, because they said, okay, well, I want you to redesign Polar Boy, and we want to try to keep it in the theme of what Bendis has already done with those. So, I got to redesign it, and
that's cool.
I was looking at a lot of of Korean boy bands is what I was actually looking at.
K-pop.
Their high fashion was was my inspiration for what he needed to look like. So he was very young, but very smooth looking, very, I don't know. For some reason, it just kind of fit. Now, if you ask me today, I would love to go back and maybe pull it closer to maybe the very first iteration, with some modern day tweaks a little bit.
But I was going to ask you about that too, like if you had a hand in designing it, because it was a cool take, and a lot of the it looked like you had a lot of fun playing with the action sequence of flames and ice and stuff. That looked like an enjoyable project for you to work on.
It was a ton of fun, and that was it wasn't my first DC gig, but it was my second, and I had a huge break in between, because I did an issue of Red Hood, Outlaw, and that was in 2019, I think, or 2020, somewhere around there. But it literally came out a month before the pandemic.
Oh,
so then everything shut down. DC went said goodbye to Diamond. All of that stuff was happening when I kind of got my first big break. And I had to wait almost 2 years for another DC project.
That's I mean, you're like, yes, I got a DC book, and then it's like, no, I'm waiting.
It sucked.
I made it.
It was the most humbling experience ever, but it did teach me a really hard but important lesson where, even when you quote unquote make it, your career is your own. It comes down to how much you want it and how much you're preparing. When I'm doing a gig, I'm still sending it to editors, I'm already thinking about what's next while I'm drawing one. I don't necessarily wait to finish one before I'm feeling out what's going to be my next thing. So
okay, and that seems to be like, to almost make it, you have to be doing that, right?
Yeah.
Like it's nonstop. And I just want to bring up, because I had read all these, the Justice Society Files books for the Black Adam movie came out, and I do remember the Atom Smasher being my favorite issue.
Oh,
and
thank
I
you.
told, because it was a story about Atom Smasher getting his suit, right?
Yes,
I think
Yep.
right. And not only did you get to draw Atom Smasher, you got to draw a giant naked Atom Smasher.
Oh yes, yeah, where I had to like, I had to strategically like place the smoke and stuff like that. Yeah,
like buildings and smoke. Yeah, all that.
It was
stuff.
great.
Yeah. So how did that come about? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, I'll talk about that particular scene first and say that I did have to reference myself for that one. So I did put like the phone on the floor.
Yeah.
And because I needed that. It was a weird perspective that I definitely needed.
Yeah.
I didn't go a full buff, but you know, I have this joke that we always talk to other comic creators about, that, you know, if anybody ever gets a hold of my phone and it is able to unlock it, I have such fear about that. It's not because like I have anything nefarious or like anything like that. It's they're gonna see my reference photos and plaster it online, and I'm going to be beyond embarrassed. The faces that I have to make, the weird positions, it's so bad. It's so bad.
That's hilarious, because I don't think about like you have the like, almost, we say cinematography with comic panels and stuff, but you have that in your hand with your phone. I don't even think about that. You could make those faces. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's half the reason why I go to the gym, is just so I can use myself as a reference. Just because searching on Google and stuff, it takes so long, and it's never perfect.
Right.
You know, it's never the perfect angle. So you know,
that's amazing. And I really like that story too. And I just, back to that really quick, I always thought it was interesting because like, who is Alex Ross always talks about using, you know, obviously for the style of his drawings, and paintings, but he would always be like, oh, I use myself for Superman. And I was like, oh, do you have to do that? But it's also kind of cool you get to do that as Superman, you know.
Cool in theory.
Yeah. But then if anybody ever got a hold of the photos, be like, okay, this is kind of geeky.
Yeah.
But it's all right. Yeah, we're in a good spot here. We're in a safe space to talk about that.
But the project was super cool too, because, you know, the movie was being promoted. It hadn't come out yet, so I got to see a lot of the costumes before the trailer was. So that was pretty cool. I got to see that Hawkman design. I absolutely love. Don't even get me started on Dr. Fate, because Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate was my favorite part of that entire movie. And I did one of the characters, and Pierce Brosnan was still my favorite part of the movie.
Hands down. He did such a great job, for sure. Yeah.
It's unfortunate that we won't see him again in that role.
Yeah. Such a great actor. And just what they did with the helmet, like getting rid of the eyes, and I don't know. It was just, it was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And your part of the project was like, I liked that story with Atom Smasher, and like you said, I guess it is different for that character because of the references of the scale of that character, right? So did you had to, was that difficult when going panel to panel and be like, oh, what size is he now, and how does that reference everything around him?
Yes, like just doing the perspective, it was super challenging, you know, because you only have so much space on a panel, which means if he's big, you're going to have to put that camera really far away, no matter where it is. Right. So it's like, are you going to put it low? Are you going to put it high? Are you going to put it, you know, in a medium shot where you're just going to see one part of his body really big, and you got to put other things in there for scale. So, you know, you got to make sure that all of the soldiers that he's punching are all the same size, unless they're closer to the camera. So all of that stuff became a little bit more confusing. Not to brag, but I would say that composition, in especially action scenes, tends to be more of my strength.
Okay.
And I don't necessarily know why. It's just one of those inherent things that it clicks a little bit easier than other things. That being said, we can always get better, but
Right.
so it wasn't the most challenging. I would say it was figuring out how to show when he's growing. That was more challenging, because you can do the Ant-Man kind of effect where you have multiple figures getting bigger,
right
which I kind of did. I remember in one of the panels I had him changing positions as he was getting bigger, so you could see that. So it wasn't that cheap trick of just expanding the same image to make it bigger. It made it seem like he was doing different things as he was growing, because I wanted to make it more interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's a cool way to do it. But everybody does know everybody has that in their mind, the Ant-Man style of like the like womp womp womp. Yeah, exactly. And I pulled up the issue here just because I did read it quite a bit of time ago. But like when you have Adam Smasher going through the different costumes, he pulls up like the Superman mask and and then the ski mask that almost looks like Casey from Ninja Turtles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or the original Spider-Man Tobey Maguire movie.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Especially with the color scheme. That's definitely the vibe that I kind of got when I read the script.
Yeah, that's exactly it's the same color scheme and everything. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. But no, it was a really cool issue, and I do remember you get to draw a couple other characters, like there was Dr. Fate in the issue too. So you technically did get to draw him at one point, right?
I did, yeah. I drew a photograph, and it didn't, in the script, it didn't necessarily call for like it to be that detailed. I just wanted to do it. So
like, I spent 5 hours on this picture.
Yeah, exactly. He's just holding a photograph, and I was like, no, I'm going to zoom the camera way into the photograph.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. You're like,
this is my audition for a Dr. Fate book right here.
Please. That's so cool that you got to be part of that. And now we talked a little bit about it before we started recording, but I know you got to hop on Cyborg for a little bit.
Yes.
If you want to talk about that, how that was going, or how that went.
Absolutely. Probably one of my favorite projects that I've done. But such a crazy part of my life. I got the offer. It was originally, they just kind of sent me an email saying, hey, we're having a little bit of trouble with our deadlines and stuff, and unfortunately the current artist is having to step away due to unforeseen circumstances and things like that. Would you be willing to do like 8 pages? And I said, yeah, absolutely. Cyborg, like, I'm a huge Titans fan. Huge. Nightwing was the first character that I ever followed. Awesome. So as I was doing that, I was getting back issues from the Nightwing mullet phase or like the disco suit. So I became very versed in Titans at a very early age, way before like the Teen Titans show.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Or anything of that popular. So I had kind of already known those characters way before it was cool.
Nice. Very hipster.
So yes, right. Exactly. I think my first graphic novel was it A Lonely Place of Dying? The Tim Drake story?
Oh,
where he first, I think that was my first graphic novel that I ever bought but was bought for me. Cool. So again, I got to see Disco Nightwing, Raven, Cyborg, all of those characters. So it was a huge opportunity, and I was like, yes, absolutely. And Jorge Corona is a friend of mine, and we live maybe 10 minutes away from each other.
Oh, okay.
And he had gotten to do the redesign of Cyborg for this. Cool. So that was a very cool kind of anecdote as well. So I got to send him, that, hey, I'm drawing your cyborg, and then he responded, hey, I'm going to be looking really closely, don't mess it up, that kind of that kind of situation. So
That's awesome.
we've got a good relationship.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That's how you know he's a good friend right there.
Yeah, right. It's like, don't fuck it up.
Yeah. No, I'm watching you.
Yeah,
I know where you live.
well, it's funny enough because a lot of the artists, I think in Cyborg appearing in Titans and Beast World and stuff, there is a design element where his it looks like he's wearing like pants. But originally, Jorge designed him wearing shorts, where his thigh before the mechanical part meets his knee, a little bit of his thigh is showing, and he wanted him to be more like biker shorts, like running shorts.
Right. Yeah.
And so I kept those, and he was so happy. He was like, I just want you to know, I salute you for not going the easy route and just drawing the pants. You gave him the shorts, and that's why we're friends. And I was like, hell yes. I wasn't going to change a single thing.
The little extra details to do the shorts. That's what made it. That's awesome.
So the shorts stayed.
And a character like Cyborg too, I feel like all the iterations, I mean, yeah, you could change everybody's costumes, but I feel like Cyborg is really the one that gets like the big design changes.
Yeah.
Like whether it's involving a mother box or like, the from Apocalypse, like that type of technology or what. So I could see where that'd be a difficult character to draw and keep everything together.
It was a little bit, it took a little while to get it down. By the second issue, I feel like I had become way more comfortable, but it was a little daunting. That first, I think the first page that I drew with Cyborg was the one where he's entering from a boom tube, and it is a full figure shot.
Yep.
And I think I redrew that one. So that wasn't my first page. That was because originally I was only supposed to do 8 pages.
Okay.
And then they told me, hey, we actually just need you to do all of the issue, but we can only give you an extra like 5 days.
Wow.
And I was just like, oh, okay, time to go into serious mode.
Yeah.
So that was a really fun page. I love that Nightwing at the bottom. That's another one that I did reference myself for.
And we can see the biker shorts there though, where it's like there's definitely more detail having the exposed skin with the Cyborg enhancements. So what a crazy way to get thrown into it and be like, oh wow, I have this hard deadline with all these pages, right? So.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I had a set page. I was like, cool, deadline's fine.
Yep.
Great. I was maybe on page 5, and they're like, oh no, we need you to do more. We need you to do the whole issue, and we can give you like a week.
Wow.
Wow. And so it was from that point on, it was just a sprint. And then when they were like, we just need you to do the next issue. And I said, that's great. And they're like, oh, but we can't push the deadline back anymore on that book either.
Right.
It's a hard deadline. So, we're going to give you 15 pages to do in a little under 2 weeks.
Wow.
And it was, I was doing more than a page a day.
Holy crap. Can you even do layouts for yourself before that? Or are you just going and drawing the page? Like
I did layouts. I had to submit thumbnails. I did it all in about 2 weeks.
That's insane. That's
definitely a trial by fire right there.
It was. But I feel like it was one of those instances from my editor who was fantastic. I mean, for that situation, I mean, you can say, oh my gosh, poor baby to me doing that. But like being the editor on that book.
Oh yeah.
In that kind of a situation, and then relying on other people to just pull that kind of weight, it's nerve-wracking, but he was there the whole time. If I had a question, it didn't matter what time, day or night, he would answer. He was always available to reach, and he was just such an advocate for me. And when we finished the issues, he just had the nicest things, and then of course told the rest of the DC editorial world, like, look at what we did. And I got a lot of nice messages from the upper editorials
great.
just saying amazing work. We really appreciate it.
I think it's a testament to for our listeners and viewers and stuff like that like I think people understand the weight of the projects they're working on, and like people like yourself that this cyborg character is a staple in the comics community, and like people want to see that, and they know there's a lot riding on it, right? So you and the team are like working night and day to get this stuff out, because you know there's like almost like a responsibility to the fans. So that's got to be appreciated by them as well.
Well, and not only the balance for me personally, because of course I want to put my best work, especially on a character like Cyborg. This was my opportunity to get on a monthly book.
Right.
Yeah, it's 2 issues, but I was doing the final conclusion. I set up the conclusion with 5, and I got to nail it home with 6.
Yeah.
And so of course I wanted to give my very best work. But with time constraints, I had to balance that out of like, it was more important to get the thing done, but I still had to be okay with those pages. So I still was redrawing things. And you can imagine I wasn't sleeping much. I didn't sleep much for like over a month and a half. I was kind of a wreck. But again, I just wanted at least the best work that I could possibly do in that time to come out. And there's a lot of pages, or maybe not pages, but there's a lot of panels that I think turned out very well. Of course, if I could go back, I would love to be able to, redraw some things or spend a little more time on others. But, I'm pretty proud, especially in that 5th issue. I had so many Titans team scenes. And man, choreographing those to make sure that like all of the Titans were seen, because that's what the script called for. It called for group shots. And it had to be interesting, because I can't phone it in. I can't.
Right. You can't just like put them standing in the air somewhere.
Nope. So all of them are doing some kind of action in some kind of dynamic form at an interesting angle. So
that's great. And
that whole story just, to me, sounds, anyone out there that may want to like draw comics for a living, and I think this goes for almost any profession, especially creative wise, the whole story sounds to me like one of those opportunities of when preparation meets opportunity, what some people call luck. And you got to you're preparing, you're doing all these cool things, and then you get this opportunity to do something bigger. And it could propel you to the next thing, and so on and so forth. And it sounds like you had to bust your ass for a few months. It wasn't pleasant, but it's going to pay off. So everybody out there, like, sometimes it's what we got to do. And
and you just got to be ready for that opportunity, because I could have easily folded under the pressure. You know what I mean? I could have said like, oh yeah, I'm ready for a monthly. How come they're not giving me this? And the opportunity comes, and that's your time to show you, can you do it or not? And I'd like to say that I did.
And I'm sure there's things in that time frame, I don't know when this happened, but that you wanted to do, but you're like, I gotta get this done. This is my opportunity here.
I got the email of the additional pages of like, oh hey, by the way, we want you to do this issue and the next one. I was actually in Montreal. I live in Colorado, and I was visiting Montreal at that time.
Wow.
And so I was like kind of on vacation, because I was already ahead of schedule for my pages. I was like, I'm we're visiting a place, so we're walking through this. It was close to Halloween. It was like mid-October, and we were kind of doing this. We were in a Montreal park, and there were lights everywhere, and there was this really cool aesthetic. And I got the email at like 8:00 at night. And I just had to stop and just be like, okay, vacation's over. This is
like mid-walk. Okay, we got to go back.
It was amazing. It was like a great feeling of opportunity. Like, yes, I get this and another issue. This is amazing. Followed by full-blown panic of like, I'm not even in my studio right now.
Right.
That's wild. So I was like waking up early at coffee shops in Montreal, like trying to work half day to finish out the vacation. So
it's crazy that you go from like the Outlaw book pre-COVID, right, to where you do this project,
Mhm.
and then bam, 2 years, and things
Yeah.
kind of fall out of place, and then here you are in the Cyborg book.
Yeah.
Bam, you got to get it done. So it's almost
Yeah.
like both ends of the spectrum for you, where I
Yeah.
think now you know what you can handle, right? When those opportunities,
yeah.
it's great. It's great experience for you moving
Yeah.
forward, right? To
Yeah.
understand what you can handle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, and luckily, you know, following that, you know, I got a little bit of a break, but you know, for me personally, like I don't want to take too long of a break. I don't
Right.
like to lose momentum.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have a project, I'm working on something of my own or commissions. Like I will,
Yep.
I am not drawing any, I'm not drawing less than 8 hours any day. Like I can't do it now. It's just in me.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a weekend, usually, and I'm not on a book, usually I can pull that back to 6 hours a day, but I still draw every day.
Wow.
Like I drew on Christmas. I drew
Wow.
like it's
Wow.
just, you know, there's no choice about it. I just do it.
So you brought that up too, and I want to plug your commissions because I know you have that on your Twitter.
Yeah.
That you do a lot of that. So,
Yep.
Is that something you see slowing down maybe in the future if you get more busy on an ongoing book?
It already has.
Yeah.
You know, unfortunately, even when I was in New York, I was trying to take commissions for New York Comic Con, and trying to get those done. And with the Cyborg book, people had requested pre-show commissions, and I had to say, like, I'll take them. I'm not going to get to them till probably winter or maybe the new year. So I felt terrible about that, but luckily everybody did understand.
Yep.
And luckily I did finish those over the break. So
that's great. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And okay, let's talk about the project that you do have coming out. I dug my Kingdom Come Superman shirt out of the closet for this because we have talked about the World's Finest book, and while we don't see that actual iconic Kingdom Come outfit, we are playing in that universe now with that current story. But you're going to be part of the annual.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. How's that going, and what can we hear about it?
Well, first it was one of those things where when they asked me to do it, you think of like, oh, it's just a backup. That's not a big deal.
Right.
But when I got that email, I was like, World's Finest.
Yeah.
That is probably the number 2 selling DC book for 5 months, 6 months now?
Yeah, it's been a while.
I mean, since the first issue came out.
Right.
Maybe not the first one, but I know that it is in the top. So just knowing that was crazy. And then, you know, I read on and it said, we want you to do this Metamorpho backup story. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, I got to follow Dan Mora.
Yeah.
Like, I read that arc. I've seen his Metamorpho. Like, how the hell do you follow that?
Yeah.
You know, so that was a little bit of like an adjustment of like, okay, build my confidence. I can do this. Of course I can do this. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Of course I'm going to say yes, followed by like, oh, Dad's gonna hate it. You know, and then I realized, oh shit, we're talking about Mark Waid.
Yeah.
Like Mark Waid's gonna see, like he's gonna get comps.
Yeah.
He's gonna see this. Oh shit. Like, so there was a process of like, just again, sheer panic. I feel like that's a theme for me of comics. It's always excitement just followed by panic. And then just me grindstoning work. That's it. And then just rinse and repeat that, and that is my life.
So I don't know how much you can talk about, but like you said, you don't like to do boring panels. And for a character like the Element Man, right? Can we expect some cool stuff coming from you? Because I'm a huge nerd about that character for sure.
Absolutely. I made it a point for every page that he is using his powers in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because I couldn't have it any other way, and you're really gonna like this. So Dennis, just even for a backup, it's so much fun because it's it's an adventure story and almost it's not a parody, but it's a nod to those cult classic adventure comics of the past, the Indiana Jones look, it's all there. So it's really getting into his origins as a adventurer, treasure hunter aspect. So it's getting back to his roots there. So you're gonna see Metamorpho in some really fun environments.
Okay.
Being able to do some really cool stuff.
Okay, that's exciting to hear, because like I feel like whenever we see Metamorpho, it's almost like the side character to like whatever's happening, right? With the big two, or a bigger character. So I think that's exciting to explore what he started off as, and do like an Indiana Jones style, which sounds like a lot of fun, like an adventure story. That's really cool.
If you just kind of take the environment of Indiana Jones, the look, the feel, and then put a superhero that looks like Metamorpho into that's what you can expect to be getting. And I just today is, as we're recording, is the last day that it's the final cutoff day for orders for our annual issue. So hopefully everybody's got their issues in. But Dennis retweeted, and he gave a little bit of a hint of what you can expect. So I don't think it's a spoiler for me saying this, is we are introducing a new character to the Metamorpho world, and it's his dad.
Really?
Yes.
So and is that all you can really say?
That's
Sean
all.
Connery,
That's
right?
all. That's all I can say. And I'm not going to say it's not Sean Connery, and I'm not going to say I may or may not have looked at young Sean Connery, middle-aged Sean Connery, older Sean Connery for references. I may or may not have.
What I love, as you're talking, I was looking at the cover here, and the Metamorpho here even has the fedora.
Yes.
Yep. That was a specific request from Dennis to kind of give you, even on the cover, what you can expect.
Oh man, I'm so excited for that.
And I'm looking through this book, man. It's a murderer's row of people that we love, Mike. It's Mark Waid, obviously. It's our boy here, Travis Mercer, working on a story. Dennis Culver doing. But then we got Colin Bunn, Christopher Cantwell, George Fornes, Jorge Fornes.
Jorge Fornes.
Yep.
I always get his name wrong. And then cover, obviously, by Dan Mora.
It's gonna be. I'm very excited for the book. Colin Bunn's been on the show probably 10 times now, but I think he holds the record now for most. It's like him and Derek Robertson keep coming back a bunch of times. But I want to talk about the elephant in the room as well, because every time James Gunn tweets something, it becomes an article on a comic book website, and now we do know that this character is going to be in Superman Legacy from what he's confirmed. So not only are you drawing the Element Man, but now he's part of the dawn of the DC cinematic universe. So is there a little more weight to it?
There is. I mean, but luckily not that much, because I mean, let's talk about a signature trademark of an amazing storyteller, creative director, James Gunn, is he loves to take these characters that you as maybe as just an average person, or maybe just a casual fan know nothing about. And he's going to bring you something not only amazing, but he's going to bring you the core of the character. And that's what's the most exciting, is that I can be fueling that interest of Metamorpho to get people excited. They're going to say like, oh, I remember this character now. Like I got a little taste. And then when they see him in the movie, they're gonna like that more. And
Metamorpho is going to come off like Drax.
You think?
I think that's going to be his Drax.
Well, so
like not in terms of like actually how the character acts, but like his role in the movie. He's going to be kind of that character who is a little bit of a comic relief, but is serious and has like heartwarming moments.
It could be. That actor he has a very specific thing about him where he usually plays like some kind of creepy serial killer. So I'm excited for him to get to like stretch his actor legs and be like I don't know. I'm excited to see what he's going to bring to it because he has the look.
Donner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think he was in Gotham as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
I will say this, when you mentioned like an Indiana Jones style character, I could almost see Metamorpho being that, like, hey, especially if it's a young Superman interacting with Metamorpho, like, hey, there's this weird element that I don't understand that's poisoning me.
Yes.
I need your expertise. Like, what can you tell me about that? Almost like not like an Alfred, but like somebody like that he can, go back to and be like, okay, I need some guidance on what the hell is happening to me, or what am I dealing with, kind of thing. So that would be an interesting way to utilize the character.
Just for the record, real quick, he wasn't in Donner, but you were right. He was in Gotham and The Flash.
Oh yeah,
and then like a movie called Satanic, which I mean, the dude's got a look that fits that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. So go ahead.
So yeah, I mean, I think it's exciting that there's more of a spotlight in the character, and you're getting to draw it, right? So,
I am curious as a Metamorpho fan too. In your head, do you have a specific way of how you think he sounds? Specifically an accent. Do you see him being from because DC is all the cities are fictional for the most part, but like if you can give your equivalent of like what he might sound like, because I kind of feel like he might have a Boston type.
I was gonna say Boston, yeah, because I mean, I was born outside of Boston, and like I think the way the character's always been treated is, I'm not gonna try to do a Boston accent right now, but I would say I could see him being more.
Being wicked awesome.
Yeah, wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome. I'm seeing Superman and it's wicked awesome.
Yeah, maybe not like that, but I almost like picture like the early like oh my god, was it Chickless that played Ben Grimm in the Fantastic Four movies with the rubber suits? That's the almost. I think he had like a New York accent kind of right for Ben Grimm, almost something like that. Maybe that's how I can see the character being portrayed.
Something a little bit more relatable to the people, the average Joe, the kind of blue collar worker. I feel like would be a really great way to depict him.
Yeah, Boston
now I want to cast Bill Burr.
There you
go. Yeah, exactly. There you go. Bill.
Exactly. Actually, that's
Chris's standard.
Now that I'm thinking about it, that's not a bad second choice, to be honest.
Yeah, that could be the backup.
Backup. Yes,
that's amazing.
That's the TV version. Oh wait, they're all connected. Never mind.
Yeah. So, for our listeners and stuff, when can they expect this issue to hit the comic shops?
I believe it's, if the final cutoff order was,
it was today, so it should be
April.
Just had it up too.
Okay,
or
Chris
March.
Will pull it up.
I think it might be March is when it's coming out.
Okay,
it is. Is that right? This says January 30th. I don't know. Oh, cover date March 2024. So yeah,
March. Okay, so it'll be out March 2024. For everybody to go out to the comic shops and pick it up if they haven't pre-ordered already. Yeah,
absolutely.
So
and please do, if that issue sells out and people are on their socials talking about it, we want to do more Metamorpho. Let's make that happen. Everybody just needs to show DC that they want it, especially before the movie. They want more Metamorpho stories, and you tell them with your dollars, and then we'll give it to you.
And we want Travis to draw them, is what we all want.
I would love to keep drawing Rex.
Yeah. What a fun character to do.
Real quick, because I'm on DC's website now. They have it as January 30th, 2024. So I would lean towards DC's website.
Yeah, it may be that soon.
Oh wow, okay.
Because they have right above it is the March 19th issue, which is issue 25, which is the one that has Shatner on the cover.
Oh yeah. I forgot the William Shatner cover's coming out. That's amazing. Okay, so it could be as early. It could be the end of the month. So as this drops, you got a couple weeks, folks, to go out there and get the issue. So
find it. I'm seeing a bunch of websites already with pre-orders for Midtown, all that kind of stuff. So
nice.
it's available in places, but
yeah,
your local comic shop first.
Local comics.
I'm looking at you.
Yeah. Unless you're in the city and Midtown is your local comic.
Yeah, then you do you.
Go for it. That's super exciting, Travis. I can't wait to see the issue and the story, and I'm sure I'll be tweeting at you now that we
absolutely
that we've had this conversation about the Boston accent.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to like unhear it when you're reading now, so that's great.
Yeah, it's game over. It's always Boston. Yep. It's gonna be like watching The Departed now every time.
You will co-op.
Yeah, why do you want to be a Boston co-op? Dude, I mean, we've occupied a lot of your time today. I'm so happy you got to be on the show and we got to chat.
Yeah.
Is there,
Before
Chris, I don't know if you got any final questions
here? Because I know where you're going, Mike.
Yep.
Travis, so you got this book coming out. It's coming out in a few weeks, looks like, and everything. I mean, come on. What's next? Tell me.
Yeah.
Come on. Spill it.
No.
So, unfortunately, I'd love to tell you what's next. I'm not able to.
Yep.
It's the return of Aquaman.
I mean, I would draw Aquaman.
I would
shit out of Aquaman.
Be so happy if Arthur came back in his own book, man.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Anyways,
no, I think a friend of mine, Lucas Myers, who's doing Titans right now. He took over Titans.
Yep.
He had a Aquaman book just come out. I don't know if it was a movie tie-in or a single, but
I think it was probably the prequel to the movie. The movie tie-in. Yeah, I remember that came out maybe a couple weeks ago now.
He did a fantastic job. So that would be a hard act to follow. Yeah. But unfortunately, specifics. I wish I could give. So I wish I could even give like a tease of something, but I'm just not able to right now. Well, unfortunately,
if everybody buys this annual, then it's gonna be more.
Then it's Metamorpho, and that's just the way it's gonna be. So
awesome.
Make it easy on me.
Yeah.
And I want to say too, like I think you said a few times, but Dennis Culver's writing the story.
Yeah,
that you're drawing, and Dennis is one of those guys that like I looked over his stuff prior to this, and like he was writing alongside Williamson with that Justice League Incarnate book. He did an awesome job in that Doom Patrol book. I think I got behind on that book, so I didn't really talk about it much on the show, but it's really good.
Yeah, it is really good.
He's just a guy that's he seems like one of those guys that's grinding and is going to be doing something great in the near future. So
and he's so versatile too. He did the Future State Red Hood along with Doom Patrol. Just two very different characters and tones. I think he had a.
It was Future State Gotham that I think. He was on.
Yep.
Yeah. I think just recently, maybe a month or so ago, he did a Batman Brave and the Bold issue with Otto Schmidt, and he was really good. So he can do give him anything, and he'll turn it into something great.
Yeah. So some good coattails to ride for you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right. As long as he just keeps tugging me along, I'll go for the ride. You know what I mean? He can drive the car. I'll sit shotgun.
Yep. I'm so excited that I got to chat with you today, Travis. Really, again, thanks for being here for as much time as you gave us. I can't wait to have you back on the show for more future DC projects.
Yes, absolutely.
There you go, like that. That's awesome. And if we want to send our listeners, our viewers, to follow you and tweet at you when they love the annual, where can we send them?
So I think my what is my ex Twitter, whatever it is now.
Travis Mercer 15.
Travis Mercer 15. I got it all ready for you. I didn't know if you wanted to.
I appreciate it. No, because I don't even remember. I'm primarily like I'll do the X usually secondary. I primarily am more active on Instagram because it's more visual.
Okay.
Just so that's where I'm posting my stuff. Usually on the stories as well, and that's at Travesty17.
Great.
I think the link is in my Twitter as well, like in my profile. I think you can just click the link to go right over there, but that's primarily where I am on socials.
Awesome.
Cool. And everybody out there, make sure to check out World's Finest annual coming out soon. and pay attention to Travis and what he's got coming up, because I'm sure it's gonna be great.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Travis, it's been a pleasure chatting with you again, and we will definitely have to do this again soon, because I know you're hiding something from us that we're gonna be talking about later in the year.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Thanks, Travis.
All right. See you guys.